when you are married, like for me, I should never feel like I'm in competition with other women in a marriage. Now, that's not to say that I shouldn't do my part as a wife, you know what I'm saying? But I should never feel like I'm still competing for your love, for your affection, for your attention in regards to other women.
She was on Dear Future Wifey, which is one of my favorite podcasts, along with Lapeef. Um, she was talking about how she actually would study the side chick having intimate encounters with her husband so that it can improve her sex life with her husband. Am I right about that?
Mhm.
Interesting. I wonder, did he give her the tapes, or did she state whether or not she gives her the tapes, or she just found them? Because sometimes women will go through that phone and find things and just don't say anything about it. Did she ever mention how did she get have access to the tapes? She never
No,
mentioned.
no.
So we don't know if, and I doubt that he just like, oh, here's a tape. She probably just came across it in his phone, right? I would assume.
Or it was sent to her. We know how some of these side chicks are, right?
Mhm.
So somebody could have easily been like, well, here is the proof that I've been with your man.
And then she's like, he did.
I just cannot.
I think it can be any of those reasons though. Because if a side chick could have sent something, she could have been going through his stuff to confirm what she already knew, or he's been doing it for so long and she already knew that he didn't care. So it wasn't an issue of him needing to hide it or whatever, and just had, access to it.
That's an important question, because if he's gotten to the point where he just doesn't care, he's like sliding you the tape. It's kind of gone, because they will lie about cheating until you show up and you see them, and then they still will lie. So I don't. That's weird to me.
What is that saying? Something like, what is you don't have to understand something that's already understood. So it could have been a situation like that, like, hearing bits and pieces from what people said, that like when they were in college, she was kind of the side chick. She was trying to study him and, look at the women that he had dealt with and things like that, and try to, become like them. So in that regard, I mean, you keep them the way you get them. So if she was the side chick going in, to have the expectation.
Are you really the side chick though? If you're single, like, we're gonna talk about this later. So something's gotta. It's fair game, but okay. But we'll talk about that later. That's for later. But for now, she's the wife. She sees a tape, however it's presented. Okay, we're just hoping it's not presented by him, but however it's presented, and she's looking at it, she's like, "Dang." And she's like, oh, he likes it like that, and da 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 da. Weird. I mean, it's not weird. I get it, but I don't know how to feel about that.
I need to know how everyone else feels, because I know how I feel, but I
Go ahead and tell us how you feel, Coach K.
I mean, just, I guess, covering their entire relationship. I don't know, because I'm also trying to find understanding and not like psychoanalyze her, but putting myself in her shoes, I cannot fathom. And also too, getting, I guess, because I don't know the whole story, but I've heard some of it, and I guess like over time you just get like used to it, and then you can accept and tolerate more level or higher levels of like that. You can see that video and be okay. Like the cheating, like if I found out my husband was with another woman, I cannot even imagine, but he was doing that. But I know we don't really want to go into it, but I just don't know how to feel about it.
I have something to say about that, but don't let Mistaken any Nas go, because because if you go into the psyche of her, I have my idea of what may have taken place, what I think. Now, I don't know, but what I think. But go ahead, Mistaken any Nas.
I think it got to a point where she wanted to win.
I was gonna say that.
That's where which we had kind of touched on this before in a few podcasts where I said that when you are married, like for me, I should never feel like I'm in competition with other women in a marriage. Now, that's not to say that I shouldn't do my part as a wife, you know what I'm saying? But I should never feel like I'm still competing for your love, for your affection, for your attention in regards to other women. So I think she reverted back to what she did in the beginning to get him, trying to compare herself to the other women and then do what they do or try to top it in order to keep him with her. Like if I do this like her, then he'll like me the way that he
I
likes
need a
her.
notepad to write this
Yeah.
thoughts.
So I think that was kind of the mode in which she was operating from. Yeah, that's my opinion with that. Go ahead, Inez.
So I see this totally differently, right? I think that, like, if we zoom out of this particular thing, she did what she was supposed to. She studied her man, she studied his likes, his dislikes, and she acted accordingly, right? I think where she went wrong was she missed the type of woman that he's into, right? Because when we take a look at these women that have continuously passed up, like, she doesn't physically fit the criteria, right? And if somebody has that, because I've spoken on this so many times, the difference between a type and a preference, he is a type. And if she understood, like, hey, I don't fit into this type, let me just go find somebody whose type I do fit into, or somebody who doesn't have a type and is okay with preferences, and mimic the same behavior that she did, she would have been fine. But what she did was she picked a man who has a very distinct type, did all of the right things for the wrong person, and like has to take some accountability on her part, right? And I know, like, we don't really like to talk about this, but like she did really shoot herself in the foot in that sense, right?
What was his type? I didn't see other people that he had dealt with.
Instagram model, right? The
Okay.
BBL look, the hourglass figure, a particular skin tone, like all of the women that he's cheated with all look very similar and all look very different than her, right? And those types don't really come out of nowhere. Like those are, they follow men who and women who have a type. And so, like, that being said, at no point did she stop and think like, okay, I'm not his type. I don't fit into his ideal, right? But in terms of everything else she did of studying him, studying what he likes, studying what he doesn't like, yes, studying his cheating sex tapes is extreme, right? It is extreme, but the behavior itself is still technically what you're supposed to be doing as a wife. You're supposed to understand what it is that your man likes and cater to him as long as there's a level of reciprocity. It's just like the big red flag that she missed, that like, I just don't fit into that.
So, because I didn't watch it, I have a question before I speak on it. So, what you're saying is she mentioned before she met him that she would study him, and that's how she got him.
I didn't hear her say that, but I like watching other people who were commenting on that said that was what it was. So I'm not going directly be hearing from something that she specifically stated. It was what other people who were commenting on that video was stating.
Because then that goes back to the argument when the guys are here. They say there's a woman that you date, and then there's a woman that you wife, and so it sounds like she was because he married her. This is not his girlfriend that he lost his girlfriend. This is a woman that he took an oath and he gave her his last name. So he married her amongst all the other women. That's who he married. He could have easily gone to the big booty chick then, because they were big booty chicks Anyway, I'm not gonna put my school out there like that, but we're some beautiful women. Anyway, but So, but that's what he chose to marry. But I get what you're saying, Inaz. I'm not gonna knock that because his preference is gonna always be his preference. So even if she got him, that's what you're saying.